Hello everyone! I would like to introduce you 5 ways of presenting your lecture content in a blended course. Today, we will shift focus away from the overall perception of blended learning towards you, your students, and your classroom. By the end of the presentation, you should be able to identify if your lecture content needs to be delivered face-to-face or online, as well as to select engaging strategies of presenting your lecture online. I would like to start my presentation with some great news. According to research, the location of the learning materials, for example online or face-to-face, is less important to student engagement and achievements than the pedagogical strategies that instructor implements. In other words, when you design your blended learning experiences, you should be looking for the best practices for how to combine instructional strategies in face-to-face and online settings by taking advantage of the strengths of each environment and finding a common thread that ties online and face-to-face materials together. How to select the lecture content that should be delivered online or face-to-face? To answer this question, please think about what would be the most important considerations for you as an instructor when you're lecturing, and what do you think will be most appreciated by your students? Take a moment and think whether the following aspects are important for you when you deliver your lecture. If human connections or social interactions in a controlled classroom environment are essential for your lecture, do you ask students questions when you give a lecture? Do you expect students to collaborate with their peers while you're lecturing? How important is the body language, expressions, or gestures for comprehension of the content that you teach? Do you encourage spontaneity? Or, how important for you and your students is the ability to access the lecture anywhere and anytime, as well as to study content at own speed? For example, pause, go back, or rewatch the lecture, and in the order that works better for you. Does your lecture content need more simultaneous interactions with, for example, reading, concept mapping, case study, quiz with immediate feedback? If you answered yes to the most of the second set of questions, then you should start thinking about the ways you can translate your face-to-face lecture into online format. Let's look at 5 ways of how you can do it. First of all, you don't need to start from scratch. You can easily transform your face-to-face lecture into an online lecture narrative, for example, by uploading your PowerPoint slides on Avenue. You may want to slightly adjust your slides before posting. It is important that your lecture narrative is more than just key points, so students understand what you believe to be the most important content. Focus on essential concepts that you would present in your face-to-face class, or things students need to be guided through. You may want to consider adding audio narrative to support the slides. In the online environment, there is a golden design rule. The less is more, so please try to have no more than 10 slides per lecture. You may want to record a video lecture narrative, focusing on unit overview, real-life examples, and things students need to pay attention to while studying the topic. Please keep your videos short, 3 to 7 minutes long, and to the point. You can easily do that using your laptop camera or video editing tool such as Camtasia. Another great news, you don't need to create the video narrative yourself. There are a lot of free resources available online, and you're welcome to use them. Many of you who have already made use of YouTube channels of other universities or lynda.com know that there are a lot of things you can utilize for your class there. Let's take a look at the great example of video narrative done by one of your colleagues. It is a great example because it's short, it focuses on unit overview, provides real-life examples, and has a simple design.
Personal finance is a huge part of your life. It is the process of planning your spending, financing, and investing activities while factoring in the unforeseen. The unforeseen could be as small as a new brake job on your vehicle, or much larger, such as illness or disability, or even worse, death. Proper planning will optimize your financial situation over time so you'll be prepared for the unexpected. What makes up our personal financial plan? We start by uncovering your financial goals, itemize your spending habits, plan or review your financing and investing activities, establish both SMART and inspirational goals, then look at how you can protect yourself through risk management techniques and proper insurance coverage. By signing up for this class, you either have an interest in controlling and making your own financial decisions, you're looking for a solid foundation to make good financial decisions, or you're thinking about working in the financial planning industry, or maybe it's all of the above.
Another good practice is adding a page to Avenue, combining video, text, graphics, tables, or links. You don't need to be an expert in HTML and coding. If you know how to use Word or Excel, it will be a piece of cake. Just please consider keeping the pages uncluttered and clean, as it helps students to find necessary information quickly and doesn't cause information overload. You may want to use a free tool called Canva to create a modern-looking graphs or infographics, or you're encouraged to add links to Statistic Canada data or World Economic Forum data or any other electronic database in your field. Here is a good example of a simple page on Avenue. Here you can see a brief text or video overview, summary, links to additional resources, examples, key terms to help students get ready for a quiz, or statistical data or infographics to help them grasp the concept. Both pages are simple, uncluttered, and have visible chunks which helps students guide their learning. Podcast is another way of presenting a lecture narrative for your students. There is no need to create your own. In Avenue, you may want to give students the link to the episode you want them to watch or listen. You may already use podcast channels as the HBR IdeaCast, the $100 MBA, Entrepreneur on Fire in your class. It is a good practice. You are welcome to use any other relevant podcast channel to find series that would supplement your blended course. The second easy way to present a lecture content is to ask students to read certain articles or book chapters so they would start constructing their personal knowledge by analyzing and synthesizing sources. You may want to provide links to the appropriate publications in McMaster Online Library or Harvard Business Review or any other external publisher in your field, or just upload a PDF of necessary reading on Avenue. If you need to explain students' data in the table, or how to add a formula in Excel, or how to solve a problem, or other lecture content that may be more confusing when delivered in audio or writing format only, you may want to create a demonstration or screencast using Camtasia. Screencast allows students to learn by example, seeing every step of procedure or process in a great detail. Less is more in the online design. You may want to try keeping the number of words low, screencast short, and pages clean. This is a great example of screencast because it is short, focuses on how-to, highlights data to help students follow the narrative, and it also has simple and clean design.
Notice on the timeline that we have the present value of the loan right here at time 0, that's the $1,000. And then we have our time periods. It was a 3-year problem with m equals to 12, so we have 36 periods. That's on the timeline. And the interest rate, let's not forget, is monthly rate, an annual rate of 10% divided by m of 12. So we use our formula, the annuity formula that we're familiar with, plug the numbers in, and we get our monthly payment of $32.27.
You don't have to create your own screencast. You're welcome to check YouTube. There are a lot of how-to videos available there. Or you may want to book an appointment with McPherson staff to help you with the Lightboard demonstration. It is a wonderful tool for you and your students. The biggest advantage is that these demonstrations are more human, as Lightboard allows you to teach and explain concepts as you normally do face-to-face on whiteboard, and it allows students to to observe your expressions and gestures that may be crucial to reinforce particular concept. Please take a look at this good example of Lightboard demonstration. It has simple and clean design and focuses on explanation and highlighting important data.
Let's now turn to reversing this problem by calculating the present value of an annuity. Again, we can visualize this 3-year ordinary annuity. It can be actually any number of periods you wish. I'm just choosing 3 for simplicity. We had an annuity defined as equal amounts and equal time intervals at the end of each period. So there we have it. But this time we're discounting these back. We're bringing them back into today's dollars or the present value. And we know that to bring each number back, we can use a formula that we've already been accustomed to, and that is you take the future amount, future value, and you divide that by 1 plus r raised to the power t.
The fourth way to present lecture content online is to invite students for an exploratory discovery adventure. You're welcome to present the concepts through online simulations. Consider asking students to complete simulation online before you explain the topic in class, or ask students to share their experiences, findings with the class, or prepare questions for you to ask face-to-face. Many of you may already subscribe to a Harvard Business Publishing education, which provides a lot of simulations on a variety of business disciplines. The other 2 websites also contain a lot of free resources you may want to make a use of. Let's look at the example of a case study simulation that I found on one of these websites. First, students need to read the instructions or case study description. Then they enter and solve the problem. They can get feedback from the expert in regards with the decisions they've made and to see the impact of their decision through a variety of graphs. It is quite impressive. You may want to take a break from your teaching and invite a guest speaker. Please consider providing students with the opportunity to interact with other professionals in the field. It is not only a wonderful way for students to learn about a specific topic, but it also helps them to connect theory with the real world. It is very easy to do in online settings with the WebEx tool. Live streaming lecturing offers students a live interactive experience, as WebEx isn't restricted to live video and audio streaming, but provides with a variety of content forms and multimedia interactions, including screen sharing, pictures, text, and chat. It also gives flexibility to all the participants in terms of time and place. You don't have to be in the actual classroom. If you have Wi-Fi, you can give or attend a live lecture being anywhere in the world. The golden rule of design applies in a live stream session as well. It is recommended not to exceed 30 to 40 minutes. If some of your students couldn't make it to a live session or they want to rewatch a guest speaker lecture, you may want to record it and post on Avenue, so everyone would be on the same page and wouldn't miss any course content. Here's an example of a live stream session experience. You may want to start the session by introducing the guest speaker. As you noticed, all participants can see each other on the screen. Then the guest speaker starts the session. She can share the screen. Participants can chat and ask questions. If students need to present or ask a question, they can also share their screen. It's time to sum up. It doesn't matter what delivery mode you will choose to present your lecture content, online or face-to-face. Teaching strategies that you choose matter the most. Please consider focusing on small chunk of just-in-time content by creating shorter segments of your lecture, around 3 to 7 minutes long videos or 10-slide PowerPoint presentations. You may also want to be specific, keep your lecture content to the point, and media screens or pages uncluttered to keep students engaged. There are tons of high-quality materials available online. To save production time, you're welcome to curate your content. Finally, consider being a guide on the side by letting students explore the content themselves, or do an online simulation before you explain the concept or instead of explaining. Thank you very much for your attention. Please feel free to get in touch with me if you have any questions or ideas.